Every day, Alvin Puddleman came home from school. He'd scratch his head sore, and he'd feel like a fool. Because walking home from the school on the hill, he'd pass the old house, and he'd get a cold chill. It's like goblins and ghosts and galloping prickles that climb up your neck and sort of like tickles. And in winter, when everything gets late so early, he'd be kept after school 'cause he acted so squirrely. Oh, don't get me wrong, he was a good little lad, but sometimes he just couldn't help being bad. He'd sit at his desk as nice as you please and draw funny pictures on both of his knees. He tied Jeannie's pigtails all into a bow and used bubblegum ribbons that wouldn't let go. His pockets were like a very small zoo. He had lizards and frogs and a worm with one shoe.
Look at my tiny little shoe.
One day in art, he ate all the paste. It must have had a terrible taste.
Yuck!
It was dreadfully dark when Alvin left school. At least 5 o'clock, but he tried to keep cool. He was trying to whistle to keep up his nerve, 'cause he knew the old house was around the next curve. His knees grew all weak and they started to wobble, and that was only the start of his trouble. He was standing there feeling his little knees knock, and just as he bent down to pull up his sock, he felt someone kick him. He couldn't guess who.
Ouch!
He was certain it wouldn't be any old shoe. The wind started howling high up in the trees, and a garbage can suddenly started to sneeze. He felt so afraid and he felt so alone when from out of that house he could hear a low moan. There was some strange talk that was just like a mutter, and the wind started banging a loose window shutter. When the lid from a garbage can rolled to the gutter, Alvin Puddleman started to stutter. He stood on the sidewalk, just scratching his head.
There's nothing to be afraid of,
he said. He was feeling so frightened, his heart beat so hard, but he crept down the walk and he crept through the yard. The house looked so hungry, he thought it would eat him, which was not how his best friends liked to greet him. He stepped on the porch. He felt like a goose, stepping over the nails and boards that were loose. He opened a window and opened it wide. Then he climbed to the sill and he scrambled inside. He saw a big chair and he climbed to the seat, when from over his head came the patter of feet. Those footsteps grew louder. They echoed like thunder.
Now who's doing that?
We can hear Alvin wonder. But his very own words came right back with a boom and rattled around in the cobwebby room. He knew they were coming, those footsteps of doom, and he started to shake in the gathering gloom. Oh, the noise, the noise! It was just like an army. Alvin's heart was just racing.
Should these sounds alarm me?
He asked with the sweat pouring off of his brow, oh, what can this thing be that's coming here now? And then he saw it. What could it be? He couldn't believe it. It was something to see. It looked like a cloud with dozens of feet all running together, like it was trick or treat. Then the cloud turned, and Alvin saw a big nose on a green face that was odd, I suppose. It could be a monster from the way it appeared, and the odd way it moved was also quite weird. Then the thing spotted Alvin and twirled all around. It crept closer and closer to see what it found. The cloud looked at Alvin most curiously, and then he asked Alvin if he wanted some tea.
Would you like some tea?
I mustn't seem scared.
Alvin thought with alarm, or this strange-looking creature might do me some harm. So he lifted his chin and he stiffened his knees.
Haidider, don't bother me, please.
Guess what? That cloud started shaking and sobbing and crying, till it made such a fuss, Alvin thought it was dying. It pulled up its feet and it started to shower. It kept right on crying for nearly an hour.
What's the matter?
Asked Alvin, and pulled up his feet to tuck them beneath him on top of the seat. Haidider stopped raining and shook himself dry like a laughing hyena. It smells pumpkin pie.
You're not even frightened,
said poor Haidider.
I guess I don't scare you as much as a spider. I thought I'd be scary without any school, but now I can see that I'm only a fool. I was naughty and bad and got thrown out of school, and now they all call me the Hooligan Ghoul.
Alvin laughed and he laughed till his laughter got sore, and then he laughed and he laughed and he chuckled some more.
Are you saying that ghosts go to school? That certainly seems like a stupid old rule.
It seems so, but I'll tell you what, I'm learning the hard way that really it's not. Without a diploma, I'll tell you today, a ghost has his troubles in more than one way. We haunt the worst houses and nobody scares when we boo at a window or squeak on the stairs. At Ghoul School, at least they'll teach us to groan and rap at your door when you're left all alone. There's courses in trumpeting and tapping and rapping and tickling your tummy whenever you're napping and lifting up tables to answer the call and writing all scribbly that looks like a scrawl and a course that'll teach you to come through a wall and things that a hooligan can't do at all.
Then Alvin went up to that damp little cloud, put his arm halfway round till it stood nice and proud.
Haidider, you won't be a hooligan if we talk to the teacher and get you in school again?
Haidider started to chuckle and laugh right out loud, till a rainbow appeared in that bright little cloud.
If you'll write me a note, I can go back to class. And I'll work and I'll study. I'm sure I can pass. But it has to be written on top of the steeple. And it has to be written by genuine people. So if you will climb on top of my back, I'll take you right there and I'll bring you right back.
Alvin Puddleman climbed on that cloud in a flash, and out through the window, right over the sash, they flew down the street, and they flew to the church, and clear to the top like a hen on a perch. Haidider left Alvin, then started to search for pencil and paper left in the lurch. On a perch, on a steeple of a church, people started to cry, "Wouldn't you? Wouldn't I?" But just as the first tear was starting to fall, someone down on the street gave a whoop and a call.
Hey, yo there. Hey, Alvin, you better get down. You're acting so odd, folks will think you're a clown.
I can't!
Alvin shouted, his face getting red.
You want me to fall down on top of my head? I'm writing a note for a strange little ghoul, so his teacher will let him get back into school.
All the people looked up, and some shouted, "He's mad!" But Alvin knew Haidider was not really bad. He saw a cloud coming a block down the street, and he hoped Haidider was hiding his feet, for he thought that the people there might become cruel if they saw him with ghosts that were thrown out of school. He was happy when Haidider slid up to his place with a huff and a puff, as if running a race. He had a big smile on his damp little face, like a runner in baseball who's rounded third base. "Dear teacher," wrote Alvin, "excuse this poor scrawl from a poor little boy who's afraid he will fall on top of a steeple where nobody goes, hanging on with my teeth and my fingers and toes. I hope you'll excuse Haidider the ghost You may not agree, but I think he's the most. So please take him back. He won't act like a fool again. If only the other ghosts don't call him Hooligan."
Oh, thank you.
cried Haidider, who snatched up the note when Alvin had signed it.
I'm happy you wrote.
With that, he was off, forgetting to linger,
So long.
and rescue poor Alvin, who hung by one finger. Yes, Alvin was starting to get very weary, his fingertips numb and his eyes growing bleary. When a fire engine came with his siren so loud, it chased back the people, it scattered the crowd. "We are coming," yelled Fire Chief Captain McLeod. So the people applauded. They clapped in the night as the great ladder rose. It was really a sight. Old Chief McLeod climbed right up to the top and rescued poor Alvin, just ready to drop. His mother and father were there on the street. His father said,
Rubbish.
and his mother,
How sweet.
and they kissed him and hugged him and hid him from people who wanted to know how he got on the steeple. And reporters came too with their little black books and asked Alvin questions and gave Alvin looks.
What are you wearing tonight?
As if they believed him, but they made it plain that boys who told ghost stories gave them a pain.
If ghosts go to school,
Alvin told them politely.
I'll study my lessons both daily and nightly.
But just as they closed up their notebooks so black, there came Haidider. He really came back. His many feet pattered, they made quite a track, and he carried a wonderful red leather sack.
Check out my red sock.
The people all shivered and shook in their places and turned sort of green with their hands to their faces. But Alvin met Haidider. They laughed and they played, and soon all the people stopped being afraid. The red leather bag was soon dumped on the ground, and 10,000 things were soon scattered around. Toothbrushes and pennies and shoelaces too, and grandfather's mustache and Jimmy's left shoe, and a first baseman's mitt and a good leather ball that Soapy McGinnis had lost in the fall.
Ah, it's me, Bob.
We thought we had lost all these things, people said. We thank you, we thank you, till Alvin turned red. He wondered what happened as everyone cheered, but then he found Haidider had just disappeared.
Bye. Thanks for everything. I can't wait to get back to school. Thanks, Alvin. Bye.
He helped all the neighbors to clear up the rubble and thanked Chief McLeod for all of his trouble. And that was the end of the Hooligan Ghoul, who really helped Alvin appreciate school.
Me and you, Hooligan Ghoul, we can fly up to the moon. Me and you, Hooligan Ghoul, and don't act like a fool. Me and you, Hooligan Ghoul, we can go back to school. Me and you, Hooligan Ghoul, we can do what others do. Me and you, Hooligan Ghoul, we can fly.